Welcome to LUME, a space where gentle stories speak to the deeper parts of you. Here, we use the power of metaphor to support your healing, self-trust, and emotional well-being. Tonight's story is for those who feel the weight of responsibility as something sharp and heavy, who hesitate to take the first step in case it's the wrong one. It's for those who often say, "It wasn't me," not because they don't care, but because somewhere inside, they're afraid they won't be enough if they try. This story is for the architects of unfinished plans, the bricklayers who carry more frustration than mortar, and the quiet hearts who long to begin, but don't yet feel ready. Each story in this series is created with care, designed by a psychologist and hypnotherapist to gently support your nervous system through the subtle language of metaphor. These are not hypnosis sessions. They're invitations, soft reminders of the wisdom that already lives inside you. There is nothing to fix, no test to pass, just a space to rest into yourself. And remember, you don't need to focus. You can listen while walking, journaling, or lying down with your eyes closed. The story will still find its way in, quietly like light through morning fog. So breathe. Let go of the need to defend or prove anything. You're safe now. Let us begin. The architect who wouldn't finish. In the center of a quiet, wind-warmed valley stood a building site, cleared, measured, marked, and waiting. On a raised platform sat a stunning blueprint, rooms flowing into each other like poetry, wide windows to invite in light, walls imagined to hold warmth, family, and future. But the foundation remained bare. Not a single beam had been set. Each morning, Arya arrived early. She smoothed her plans. She adjusted lines. She sharpened her pencils. But when the builders came, when it was time to begin, she would frown and say, "The materials are wrong. The team's too slow. I can't work like this." And the builders, once eager, would grow silent and drift away. Her voice, once visionary, had become a chorus of blame. She didn't admit, not even to herself, that deep beneath her frustration was fear. What if I miscalculate? What if people hate what I build? What if it breaks and everyone blames me? So she stayed busy with edits, always preparing, never beginning. And the home, desperately needed by a waiting family, remained nothing more than ink on a page. Not far from Arya's platform stood an old boundary wall, built generations ago to mark land, but now mostly symbolic. It had cracks, gaps, chunks missing. A boy named Milo was sent each week to patch it. Milo hated this wall, hated how long it stretched, how no one thanked him for the work. Each time a new section collapsed, he'd shout, "This isn't my fault. If my brother had patched it last year, it wouldn't have broken." The wind was stronger than expected. And while his hands grew skilled, his heart stayed clenched. He blamed the wall. He blamed the weather. He blamed time. Never once asking himself if part of him was afraid he wasn't strong enough. So, rather than face that silence, he kept fighting everything else. And the wall, still patchable, crumbled slower than it could have been saved. One late afternoon, Arya wandered toward the old wall, blueprint rolled under her arm. Milo was sitting on a flat stone, holding a trowel loosely, brow furrowed in exhaustion. She sat beside him. No words at first, just the hush of dry grass in wind. Then, gently, Arya whispered, "I've designed 20 homes and laid not one stone." Milo looked at her, startled, then replied, "I've repaired 20 bricks and hated every one." They both laughed softly, without cruelty, just recognition. The architect afraid to build, the builder afraid to feel. Two hearts heavy with unspoken truths. Arya unrolled her blueprint across the grass. Milo touched the lines with dusty fingers. "Is this one for real people?" he asked. "It was," she said, "and could be again." That evening they worked. No audience, no speeches, just one stone at a time, one pencil line erased and redrawn. Milo mixed mortar. Arya carried bricks. When one crumbled, they didn't curse. They replaced it. When her measurements didn't align, she smiled. Not with shame, but softness. For the first time, Arya stopped blaming. And Milo stopped defending. The air, still tender with twilight, held them as they worked in rhythm. A blueprint and a wall slowly becoming something useful, imperfect, whole. At dawn, the family who had long waited in a borrowed cottage came to the platform. They didn't expect progress, they expected apologies. But instead, they saw walls rising, even if slow. A front step laid, a beam secured. Their eyes filled with quiet awe. Arya looked up and said only, "I started. That's all I can promise. But I started." The father nodded. The daughter skipped up the step, arms wide like wings. Milo waved from the wall. For the first time, he didn't need praise. He only felt useful. If you have blamed the world instead of building, if your hands are idle but your thoughts loud with protest, know this: responsibility doesn't chain you. It frees you from the weight of endless avoidance. When we stop blaming, we don't fall into guilt. We rise into possibility. You don't need to finish the whole house today. You don't need to rebuild the whole wall alone. You just need to place the first stone, with both hands open and your heart finally ready. Let your blueprint become a room. Let your wall be more than patchwork. Let your life, imperfect, started, honest, begin now. Reflection. Take a slow breath and imagine Arya, our young architect. She sketches luminous homes, yet halts the moment those sketches ask her to pour concrete. Notice what happens in your own body when you picture that pause. A tightening in the chest, a small knot in the stomach, perhaps a familiar thought. If I start, I could fail, and that would mean something terrible about me. Arya's story isn't about laziness. It's about a nervous system protecting her from shame. Blame becomes her shield. The contractor messed up. The client changed too much. Underneath each shield is a softer truth. I'm afraid they'll see my cracks. Milo, patching the crumbling wall, holds the matching fear but wears a different mask. He works, yet resents, so he can say, "I did my part. If it fails, that's on you." Both carry the same weight, the fear that genuine responsibility might expose them. Both prove something tender. The moment blame melts, the body finally exhales. Practical exercises. Exercise 1. One brick action. This exercise will teach your nervous system that starting doesn't equal danger, and responsibility doesn't have to be overwhelming. Responsibility often feels like a mountain. So we begin by moving one small stone. For example, you've been postponing updating your freelance portfolio. It sits like a shadow on your to-do list. Every day it whispers, "You're falling behind." Your blame story. "I can't do it because the market is a mess. Clients want too much. My work's not good enough yet." Let's start with simple steps. Say it aloud. "I've been avoiding my portfolio." Whisper the story behind your delay. "I'm afraid it won't be perfect." Now, shrink it down. Today, you don't need to revamp your portfolio. You only need to open the file, rename one section, add a single sentence. That's enough. Afterward, pause. Close your eyes. Notice your breath. Did your chest loosen? Did your jaw soften? If yes, that's your nervous system relearning safety in motion. Micro-actions create completion cues that reduce freeze responses and rebuild trust in your own follow-through. Exercise 2. The waiting room visualization. This is how you shift motivation from guilt and pressure to care and connection. What we avoid is often not the task, but the emotional reckoning behind it. For example, you've been putting off calling your father. Each week you say, "I'll do it tomorrow." Then shame kicks in. "I'm a bad child," and the guilt grows heavier, not lighter. Let's work it out with these simple steps. Sit comfortably. Exhale softly through parted lips. Now, close your eyes. Imagine a quiet waiting room, maybe in a sunlit house or an old train station. Picture your father sitting there, or your inner child, or your unfinished manuscript. Let them just sit, waiting patiently, not accusing you, not blaming you. Now ask silently, "What is one tiny kindness I could offer today?" Maybe sending a voice note instead of a full call. Texting, thinking of you. Writing a sentence in the manuscript, not a chapter. If you feel a softness in your heart, even the size of a pebble, the bridge has begun. This practice will help you to turn passive shame into active compassion. Your body feels choice again. Exercise 3. Releasing the blame brick, somatic reset. Now, we need to move blame from muscle memory into conscious release, where it no longer controls your behavior. Blame is often stored in the shoulders, the jaw, the spine. Let's unburden them. For example, you've been stuck on a collaborative project and keep thinking, "If only my colleague would just do their part." You feel it in your shoulders, clenched. Your jaw tightens every time their name is mentioned. Let's proceed with this guided practice. Stand with your feet grounded. Inhale deeply, lifting your shoulders as if holding a heavy brick of frustration. Exhale, and imagine dropping that brick to the floor. Repeat for 1 minute. With each breath, name one brick aloud. Perfectionism. Deadlines. Waiting for them. Feeling like it's not fair. After a few rounds, place your palms over your heart. Whisper quietly, "I can carry only what is truly mine. That is enough for today." Let your body hear it. Let your shoulders register it. This kind of naming plus movement interrupts fight-or-flight loops, teaching the body that it's safe to release control, without collapsing into passivity. You've just taken a step, not toward fixing, but toward remembering. Responsibility doesn't mean doing it all. It doesn't mean being perfect, or never hesitating, or carrying what was never yours to begin with. Sometimes, responsibility is simply answering one small call, laying one brick, making one choice, offering one honest gesture. And sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is stop pointing outward and gently ask, "What is truly mine to hold?" Not out of guilt, not out of shame, but out of a quiet devotion to your own becoming. Let your nervous system rest in that knowing. Let your body feel the difference between pressure and purpose. Let your breath carry this softness with you into what comes next. And remember, you don't need to do it all at once. You only need to begin. Until next time.